All right. This is live. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. We'll get this started. Not really sure what to expect today. Also, just saw some tweets that there is a lot of rain heading towards potentially the track, heading towards Chicago. We'll see if it hits the track. Heavy rain though. So that could be another added twist to this time. Also, I think the under hit for the first time in history if the line was set at 2:37, 2:38 p.m. So congrats to the under bettors. All right, let me get my stuff pulled up here. And we will get this started for the Grant Park 165 in Chicago. Loud and clear. I always forget I'm on a delay. I was like, why is no one telling me? All right. Should be fun, guys. Yeah, let me read you guys the tweet I saw about rain. Jeff Gluck quote tweeted it. Let me find it really quick, just so we can get this out of the way first. And then I'll talk about everyone going to the rear too. So, all right. So this is from @RaceWeather. The storms to the north are pushing an outflow boundary towards the track. We'll see some initiation along the boundary, but can't say yet if it will impact the track boundary ETA around 30 minutes. And I checked the hourly forecast in Chicago, and it looks like it's gonna rain, but once 5 p.m. hits, which I'm not sure if that's 5 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Central Time, it should be gone, which we'll have wet tires anyway, so. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It makes some added chaos. Also, we have a ton of drivers going to the rear today. I think I know most of them off the top of my head, but I don't want to mess it up. So let me pull up Bob's tweet here. He only tweeted about 500 times. All right, so we have Blaney to the rear, Byron, Burton, Keselowski, Berry, LaJoy, Jones, and Busher, and I believe he mentioned something about Josh Bilicki having to do a pass-through penalty, if I remember correctly, which I'm not playing him anyway, so I don't really care. I know there's the biggest Josh Bilicki fan in the world is probably here. Yeah, it says Bilicki is to the rear because of a pass-through penalty at the start of the race. So it's like 9 to 10 guys. So AJ Allmendinger is about to get a top 20 when the green flag drops starting 30 seconds. So that'll be fun. We'll see. And my thoughts have not really changed since yesterday's preview video. I am basically building around guys like Elliott, Byron, Truex, Allmendinger for this race. I'm obviously taking stabs at the guys up front that can potentially win, like Tyler Reddick, SVG, Bell, and Kyle Larson. AK range, not getting to a ton of those guys. I think DraftKings Ty Gibbs is an excellent pivot option off those race-winning contenders, considering he's $2,000 cheaper and has the exact same upside. Don't like him as much over on FanDuel. AK range kind of sucks. I did get to a little bit of Denny Hamlin. I've actually built my lineups already. I usually wait until afterwards, but I just wanted to get it out of the way. At 7K range, there is some good plays here. Joey Logano, I have a lot of, just having a hard time seeing him not hit value at that price point, that starting position. Also planning on being, considering we'll see what the ownership looks like, but my plan is to be overweight on Kyle Busch. I do have a good chunk of him. And then Alex Bowman, I love. 6K range, got the Joey Hand, Todd Gillen, Justin Haley. Don't know if I got to any Bubba Wallace. He does project decently, but it's kind of tough to trust him starting in 6, especially this. It's just going to be chaotic. A little bit of Josh Berry. But the one I got to a lot of in the 5K range, just the cheap drivers, Ryan Preece ended up grading out pretty well for me. So if we're looking at some of his road course numbers, it's an 8-race sample size since last season. He has 3 top 15s, 5 top 20s, average finish of 20th, average rank position of 21st. Like, those are some decent numbers for starting in 30th nearly, at only $5,600. So he ended up being my favorite of the absolute bottom tier drivers. And I also think you can play him over on FanDuel in a pinch, which I did in my 20 max. This is kind of a quick rundown here. I'll get to the top of the chat, answer any questions you guys got, and I'll just be here until we run out of questions, I guess. But I don't know, from Chris Jenkins, I always appreciate that. He says, who are your top 3 lap leaders to mix in with place differential, and who are the top PD plays with so many guys to the rear? I just want to point out, just in general, I don't really care about any of the guys going to the rear. If it was going to affect anybody, I would say it's probably Brad Keselowski, but I wouldn't play Keselowski starting in 10th either way. Chris Buescher, it does knock him down a bit, but I still got to him slightly. But it does take him down. But everybody else, I don't care. Like, if you're starting 20th on back and you went to the rear, whatever, I don't care. But the top 3 lap leaders for me, Kyle Larson's going to be number 1. Pull my top dom tool here. Yeah, I got Kyle Larson being the top dominator at 23.9%. And then after that, it's SVG and Tyler Reddick. But it's very close between Gibbs, Bell, Reddick, Gisbergen, and Kyle Larson. If one of those 5 don't win the race, I'd be generally shocked. I feel like it'll be one of them. If not, Alex Bowman. So I do have one bet, and I made it earlier in the week, and it was Tyler Reddick to win at plus 700. I think it's like 750 now, so I mean, kind of got bad value, but whatever. But there is on DraftKings, I have Alex Bowman fair to win at plus 1940 today. You can get him at plus 25 on DK. So if you wanted to just put a little bit on that, I wouldn't hate it. He obviously has one of the best cars based off what we saw on Saturday. Good qualifying effort, good practice. So I think Bowman is worth a sprinkle at 2,500 if you can get that. And top PD plays, I mean, just AJ Allmendinger is going to be the clear-cut number 1 for me. William Byron, Martin Truex, Joey Logano, like those are the main place differential plays we're all getting to today. Also like Chase Elliott, but I like him more over on FanDuel, personally. Like on DraftKings, Larson, SVG, Bell, Reddick, all excellent plays because they can get some fast laps, get some lap sled points, and those aren't going to accumulate much. We only have around 50 Dominator points total today, but they do mean something. On FanDuel, Dominator points are basically worthless today, unless Larson led every single lap, sure. But honestly, it's just purely finishing position and place differential over on FanDuel today, so I don't have as much Larson, Bell, SVG, Reddick over there as I would compare to DraftKings, because that's where I'm just loading up on guys like the Elliott, Byron, Truex, Dinger. Because if we're looking at projections over on FanDuel, like I have Dinger leading the way at 52, Byron at 49, SVG at 49, Elliott at 48. But if you compare that to DraftKings, I have Larson higher than AJ Allmendinger at 49.5, and I have Dinger at 49.2. So there's the slight difference. The projections are so tight this week. Like on FanDuel, I have about 20 drivers within 10 points. It's very slim margins, which it always is at a road course. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to get different. Like, I definitely did some lineups where I fade Dinger just to try to get different if you just get stuck in like 24th all day or something like that. What's up, Johnny T? Says, what are your favorite cash plays on FanDuel? I feel like Dinger and Truex are the core. Then should I play Larson, SVG, and Nemechek, or play it safe, Elliott, McDowell, and Logano for place differential? Yeah, if you are playing cash games on FanDuel today, trying to turn my ringer off, there's no chance I'd play John Hunter Nemechek. If he gets a good finish, sure, but it's way too much risk to play Nemechek on cash. So if you are playing FanDuel cash, you pretty much, I think there's one lineup you play. It leaves $1,000 on the table. I think you go Elliott, Byron, Truex, Dinger, and then you probably just throw in Logano at the end. I think that's the safest possible lineup you can make. And honestly, most of those guys do have decent finishing position upside. So that's the lineup I would play in cash. About as safe as it gets. These guys like McDowell. I mean, McDowell's not a safe play starting at there. Like, could he win the race? Sure, we've seen it before at a road course. But he's definitely not what I would call a cash play. Dan says, I'm building 5 lineups. What is your recommended max exposure to any driver? 3 of 5 lineups? Yeah, I think that's fair. 3 to 5. Or not 3 to 5. 3 out of 5. And this is one of those races where if you are super confident on a driver, I don't know why, because you don't really know what to expect. There's rain in the forecast as well, so we'll see how that ends up playing out. But yeah, I'm not super confident on anybody. The reason I like some of the place differential plays is because they at least give us a cushion if there happens to be chaos. Like if Larson finishes 8th today, that's probably not going to be a great score because he can't get that many Dominator points. Let's say he finishes 15th. So he gets an issue, maybe a penalty, whatever it may be, he finishes 15th, he's dead. You can't, it's not like you had 100 laps to lead and he finishes 15th and he still gets you 50, 60 points. But if Truex just has a mediocre day and finishes 14th, that's fine. I'll take it. What's up, Sean? What is the optimal FanDuel and DraftKings lineup? Yeah, the optimal FanDuel for me is the one I was talking about that I'd play in cash. It's Elliott, Truex, Byron, AJ Allmendinger, and Joey Logano. Over on DraftKings, my optimal, leave $0 on the table. It's Larson, SVG, Dinger, Logano, Bowman, Priest. So as you can see, there's a bit of a difference where like Larson, SVG didn't make my optimal on FanDuel, but they do make it on DraftKings. Just because the downer points matter a little bit more, obviously. Top 5 drivers to win the race. I have it projected as SVG number 1, which do not bet SVG at plus 165. I don't care if he wins. That is not a good bet. Betting someone at plus 165 in the Cup Series is insane. I don't care how good he is at Chicago. And then Kyle Larson, Reddick, Gibbs, and Bell. That's my top 5, and that is probably everybody's top 5. I'd have a hard time seeing an argument otherwise. Maybe if you wanted to put Michael McDowell in for one of them, but I don't see how you couldn't have that as your top 5 today. And I do not currently show value on any of them, depending on which book you are looking at. But yeah, SVG, I've never seen anybody at plus 165 for a cup race. I think in Xfinity yesterday, after they did P and Q, he was like a minus 140 or something. Which obviously he won, but man, I could never do that. Last driver in, what's up, Mundo? Is Keselowski, Haley, or Gilland? I believe Gilland's going to be the one that projects the best there, but it's going to be closer to him and Haley. I lied. It's actually Justin Haley by like a point. I'll go Haley there. What's up, Kay? What's up, Lena? Happy race day. Happy race day to you as well. I just learned the difference between cash games and tournaments. Oh, well, I'm glad you finally did. But I've been winning a good bit on DraftKings. Love your shows. Appreciate the content. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully we can keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here. What's up, Jill? Says, hi, Chris. Who are your top 2 optimal lineups on FanDuel? Answer that one for the first. 1 second. And some MME settings on here, so I got randomness and whatnot. Let me fix those. So the top one, I went over. It's Elliott, Dinger, Byron, Truex, Logano. But the second one would be Elliott, Dinger, Byron, Truex, Hamlin. Hamlin's always a bit of an iffy play at the road courses these days. DK's out for Rompy. What's up, Geb? And here's Josh Bilicki's biggest fan. Some people celebrated July 4th this weekend, but me, I'm celebrating National Josh Bilicki Day. They don't call Chicago the Windy City for nothing. No one is faster in a headwind than Josh Bilicki. Well, fortunately, he's going to have to do the pass-through penalty, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we finally got Josh Bilicki back. So I'm sure you're excited for sure. He starts 39th, though. If there's mass chaos, can't rule him out being optimal. You never know. What's up, Isaiah? This is optimal for FanDuel and DraftKings. I went over that one. What's up, Rick? Happy race day, folks. Should be entertaining. Yeah, hopefully. I am playing lighter than normal because, honestly, if anyone tells you they know what to expect today, they're lying. I mean, no, I don't think anyone knows. So I just kind of built for not like full-on chaos, but, you know, decent chaos. Didn't really stack the front today. Like, I have my fair share of exposure to potential race winners and Alex Bowman, but I am mainly these guys starting like 15th, 18th on back. What's up, Brian? Who are the 2 to 3 must plays in your DK cash lineups? And who's the 2 scrubs to play to fit the big guys in your lineups? Yeah, if you're playing cash, like the core 3 for cash on DraftKings today would be AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano, and William Byron for me. Martin Truex Jr. is right in the mix. And if you want to play one of the race winners, potential race winners, Larson or SVG, I got no problem with that. Probably not going to go both, though, in cash games. And some of the scrubs I like Ryan Preece a lot at $5,600. Just think he's a little cheap this week. And then after Ryan Preece, I honestly just don't care. If you want to play Austin Hill or Josh Berry, I wouldn't fault you. Almost all the lap times are like the same back there, so it's just really whoever ends up just getting luckier. You can fit in Joey Hand, go for it. But he's a little bit more expensive, nearly $7,000. What's up, Dwayne? Good luck today. For my DraftKings single entry, I have Larson, Hamlin, Dinger, Blaney, Haley, Logano. You like that? Yeah, I'm not like huge on Blaney, but I talk you off of him. No, he's going to the rear, which again, I don't really care too much because I think by the end of it, he should get back to where he should have been, but I don't really expect fireworks from Ryan Blaney. So if I was going to change anybody out, it would be him. Yep, says lineup set 3 hours from green flag. We're in trouble. Yeah, I actually built mine around like 12 p.m. today, so it's like 5 hours, which I never do. I'm usually putting my CSV in with 30 seconds left, so I'm sure it'll be just a catastrophic day for me. What's up, John? Thanks for your race insights. Appreciate that. Who do you have finishing better head-to-head? Ty Gibbs versus Michael McDowell. I have Ty Gibbs. I have Gibbs at 6.84 and Michael McDowell at 9.11. So decent margin for Gibbs, but I'm assuming the odds would be in his favor. What's up, Raphael? Today looks like a stack the back kind of day. What are your thoughts? To a degree, yes. I'm not playing like Zane Smith, Hemrick, all those guys in the same lineup. But like mid-pack to some of the stack the back guys, yeah, for sure. Like Dinger, Truex, Byron, like all those guys. If you want to count that as stack-to-back, yes. Then it would be a stack-to-back race. Austin Cindric versus AJ. I'll take AJ for sure. Oh, for better finishing position. I still have that as AJ. I got Cindric at 20.52, and I got Dinger at 16.47 for today. What's up, Margie? Hope you're having a great day. Better finishing position between Reddick and Gibbs. Slight edge to Reddick. Talking a matter of decimal points. So it would not be enough for me to bet. What's up, Ben? Happy race day. Complete chaos today? Maybe. You never know. Could be boring. Could be not. I am sure these idiots will wreck each other at some point. I mean, at some point, I'm sure it'll happen. I mean, we did it at Sonoma. And I thought Sonoma would be more boring than it was. So I would say at some point, these guys are going to kill each other. I don't know when. I don't know who. I don't know where. How. But I'm sure it'll happen. I remember Josh Berry forgot to turn at Sonoma. I got a few cars doing that. Let's see. Max thoughts on Berry, Blaney, Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, Busch for GPP. I mean, if it's a tournament, yeah. Honestly, if you guys tell me it's a tournament lineup, as long as it's just not like the driver starting 1st through 6th, I don't think I could say I'm against it. Because honestly, I have a good idea how this race will play out. Blaney would be like the one guy where I'm like, yeah, I'm not really sure. He's going to the rear. He's starting 17th. I think he's going to be a top 20 car today. Probably borderline. But it's a tournament. You never know. Because last year, all the guys up front, they went to the back after a field flip. And then all the bad plays ended up being good plays. So, whatever. Which reminds me of last week. Which I don't want to talk about last week. So I'm not going to bring it up. Jason says, what are a couple pivots off of Allmendinger and 3-Max? Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you, Jason. Yeah, a couple pivots off of Dinger here. So if we're just talking strictly in the price range, I'm assuming Byron, Elliott, Truex don't count as pivots because they're going to be very chalky. Ty Gibbs, completely different plays. One starts 37th, one starts 2nd. But if you can find other PD plays to make up for no Allmendinger, then Ty Gibbs is like the same exact play as Larson, Bell, SVG, and he's $2,000 cheaper. Great car, great ride, great in practice, great road courses. I don't see a reason not to like Ty Gibbs. One of the favorites too in the race as well. Also, Kyle Busch, which I guess we're getting way off the price range there, but I do like Kyle Busch a lot in tournaments today. Then Hamlin, Chastain would be some pivots. What's up, Astro? Says happy race day, everyone. Aloha from Hawaii. Would love to be in Chicago. Let's have fun today. I don't know about you. I'd much rather be in Hawaii than Chicago. I feel like most people would agree with that. But for the race, yes, it'd be pretty cool. But 99.9% of the time, I'd rather be in Hawaii. Dwayne says, I think Hamlin is live at plus 3,000. Let me see what I got him at. Plus 3,000? Yeah, I got him at plus 21.23 fair for Denny today. I wouldn't hate a sprinkle. Even though they're showing value, though, I just don't really feel like betting this race. I really don't. If I can still, after this stream, if I can still get Bowman at 2,500, I think I'll throw a little bit on that. Just a little bit. Because he did have a really strong car. But if you wanted to bet Hamlin at 3,000 today, I do show value, so I would not fault you for that. Ewok says, also, did you know the Willis Tower in Chicago is 238? Josh Bilicki. I'm not sure I even know what the Willis Tower is, to be honest. But I'll believe you. I respect the dedication to it. And Willis Tower. Oh, so it's just one of those. Well, every time I look at it now, I'll think of Josh Bilicki car stacked up. Bilicki taking it today? Unfortunately, the Josh Bilicki crowd has found their way here. No, he's not. What's up, Mom? Hi, buddy. Happy race day, NASCAR fan. Good luck to you all. And let's go, Joey. I think we can all agree, most of us, we're rooting for Joey today. Not to win, but, finish 15th, we'd be happy with it. And he says, Astro, you're in Hawaii. You don't want to be in Chicago. I completely agree. Same sentiment. Who was the top owned drivers today? AJ Allmendinger is going to be number 1. No doubt about it. Good road course racer, $9,000, starting last. And the thing is, with everybody going to the rear, AJ Allmendinger is going to be like 29th when the race starts. So he's going to actually have some nice positive PD points there. Bedinger will be number 1. I think Joey will probably be like number 2, or at least in the top 3. And after that, bit of a guessing game. think maybe a mixture of either SVG or Larson or Byron will end up being number 3. I think number 2 and number 1 is going to be Dinger and Joey. What's up, Gabber? What's up, Sarugi? What's up, Chris? Hope you had a good 4th of July. I did. Thank you. Hope you did too. Thoughts in this lineup? Bell, Logano, Reddick, Bowman, Allmendinger, and Barry. I got nothing against it. You have Bell and Reddick, potential race winners, which I do like them because I think most people, if they are going up top, they're playing SVG or they're playing Kyle Larson. Bell and Reddick seem like they have pretty much the same exact upside. Obviously, they're not up in the very, very front, so they're not going to have access to early lap sled points as easy as Kyle Larson would. But I think at the end of the day, upside, very, very similar. And then Bowman, I love today. Too cheap. Barry's whatever. And then, yeah, I think it's a fine lineup. What's up, Travis? Geb says pants off. I cannot confirm or deny that. Can't do that. Stack the bag, kind of. Kind of a stack the bag race. Kind of. This isn't Daytona where we're just firing away Harrison Burton, Emmerich, Bulicki, Casgarla. Not quite that. No please, no rain. I know. We'll see what happens. I feel like it's been almost 30 minutes since I've talked about that tweet. Is it raining yet? Check this race weather Twitter page. Nope, no updates since. B-Boy says Penn Sunday. A sniper? Like he's the only one that would say that. Hit the like button, says Manny. I agree. Truex or log out, says Tito. I can get on the Truex train once again last week. I know I said I didn't want to talk about it, but Truex, I feel like the past 2 months, every race he's running really well, and then just at the very end, he dies. Because even after running out of gas, running in the top 5 all day last week, I think he got his way up to like 9th or 10th on the last lap of the last overtime, and then he gets spun by Suarez and finishes 24th. Like, even then, we couldn't even get a measly top 10 out of him. It's awful, awful luck. And last time we had a road course, Truex is running, what, 2nd or 3rd, then runs out of gas last lap and finishes, what, 27th or something stupid. Poor Truex. The luck has been awful. Been running really, that's one of those things where don't look at the results. Yeah, you want to look at results a little bit, but look at how they were actually running, and it was much better than what the results would indicate, especially for a guy like MTJ. Grady says best low owned options for 20 max on FanDuel. Had a lot of fun in the last year's Chicago race, hoping for repeat. And yes, like you love him, Busch. Yeah, Busch is going to be a pain for me. The guys I'd want to be overweight on FanDuel, up top, it would probably be Bell and Reddick, because like I said, SVG going to be pretty chalky, and then Kyle Larson starting the pole. Those lap lead points aren't going to accumulate as much on FanDuel, so I don't really like them much over there. Going to have to just completely win the race. And even then, it could still get outscored with the lack of laps. But then I also really like getting Kyle Busch over there. I love Alex Bowman. Ross Chastain, someone getting to on FanDuel. And kind of it. Hard to get too different on this slate. Guys, learning from CM, appreciate that. Says highest finish between SVG, Buescher, and McDowell. I have the SVG. I do have SVG projected as the race winner. Then Michael McDowell, and then Chris Buescher. That's what I got. You appreciate the dono. Great A says Ryan Preece has decent numbers, and for 3K on FanDuel, I like them. Yeah, I did mix in a Ryan Preece lineup in the 20 max, just because we do have slight top 20 potential with him, and he is absolutely free, and you can really load up the top of your lineup with that. So I don't mind Ryan Preece down low. What's up, Charles? Happy Sunday. Last week's all in on Hamlin really hurt. We won that race 3 times this week, just betting Larson and Reddick. I wish you the best of luck on Larson and Reddick. I will root with Reddick. I'll root for Reddick with you. But yeah, last week sucked, man. I'm sure a lot of you, because we talked about it. I had not right on Denny Hamlin to win. I had him in majority of my lineups. I mean, he won it like 3 or 4 times. It just sucked what happened with Denny. It was unfortunate. What's up, Nick? What is the maximum exposure you'd have on any driver in a 20 max? Probably not more than 50-60% today if you're just trying to go a little bit more aggressive, just because a lot of these projections are very similar today, and we don't really have a great idea how this race will play out. So I would probably say like a max of 50-60, and that guy is probably Dinger, and then the rest you want to limit that to like 40, 45, I would have no problem with that today. I would want to be pretty spread out. Thoughts on Briscoe for DraftKings? He's in the player pool. He's just kind of borderline. I got him projected for 27 points. I got him projected to finish 20th, which is pretty close to where he runs. I think there is upside for more, but like projection-wise, it's hard for him to stand out too much. So he's like in the bottom. Like if you were to cut the, usually projection-wise, I can cut like half the field out. He's like right on the fringe there. Good morning, Bolster. JB says for a qualifier, what type of build would you use on DraftKings? If you're playing a qualifier, I think you probably have to fade SVG. You're probably fading Larson. I would most likely try to get the race winner with either Reddick or Bell to start with. You can fade that, and then probably want to go Bowman. Fading Allmendinger. If anything happens to Allmendinger, you'd have so much leverage there, but I still think he is a good chalk you'd want to eat. So if he does really anything, you'll probably be dead. But fading SVG and Larson is probably the best route to start with. And then instead of getting to like Joey, like I said, you can go Bowman, you can get Kyle Busch in there. Those would be nice pivots, but I would probably eat the Allmendinger chalk still. Aaron says, this race is like Talladega, play whoever you want. I agree. Play whoever you want. I don't really care. Some combination of something is, like I usually use Optimizer for a 20 max, but I literally just, because I was having fun with that. I was hand building. I was like, I'm just going to randomly hand build 20 lineups and see what happens. Let's just click names. I couldn't tell you my exposure. I mean, I know who I was picking, but we'll see what happens. I have a feeling SVG gets spun at some point. He might. I don't know though. No way of knowing. And if he doesn't, he probably competes for the win. We will see. Dude, he's too OP at the road courses. What, 3 in a row at Xfinity, which obviously the Xfinity field's not nearly as good as Cup. But yesterday, there was a lot of Cup drivers in there as well. I mean, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, Suarez. There might have been more. Joey Logano, but he was in Haley Deegan's car, but I think he finished top 10, top 15, which definitely doesn't make Miss Haley look too good. That was unfortunate for her. What's up, Zan? Says Ty Gibbs' first win incoming? Maybe. You can't rule it out. I do think if he ever wins this year, it's probably at a road course, so this is one of his opportunities. So we'll see. I'd be happy for you, Zan, if he does win. What's up, Josh? Says DK Cash thoughts. Larson, Allmendinger, Logano, Busch, Chastain in hand. Thank you. So for cash games, you got Larson, Dinger, Logano. That's more of a GPP build, Josh. Like if you're playing cash games, Dinger, Logano, and then you're probably wanting like Byron, Truex type drivers in your build with that. It's not a bad lineup, but I do think it's more so better suited for tournaments. Kyle says, how does Josh Berry look today? He's going to road courses. I mean, Josh Berry looks about as good as any driver starting like mid-pack today. He's starting 36. Forgot how to drive at Sonoma for a little bit. If you're looking at his practice times, overall, he was like around 20th. Like he should be able to move up. Looking at a sample size of road courses in the Cup car. 2-race sample size. Driving position around 29th. Average finish 34th. Obviously not a big data set here to look at. So, but I mean, I think Barry can move up. I mean, practice times are about the same as everybody else. Everybody's really close. So strategy goes his way. A couple guys get knocked out. Yeah, I mean, Barry's all right. Speed alone, do I think he's going to be a demon today? No. But if we do get the wet tires, you know how good he is on the wet tire. Fandle, Elliott, Allmendinger, Logano, Bell, Bowman. What's your thoughts? Yeah, it's a good Fandle lineup. I might have that, honestly. I'd be surprised if I don't somewhere. Thoughts on Bell? Bell feels like the same play as Larson, SVG, Reddick today. But he will probably be the lowest owned of the bunch, so I would try to be overweight on Bell tournaments. I did that myself. But Barry, thoughts on, any comments on Chastain? Chastain feels like a pretty similar play to Busch, but with Busch starting a little bit further back, I just have more interest there. Chastain, pretty good road racer. Looking at his numbers, 8 race sample size since last year, 5 top 10s in 8 races, average finish of 11th. Like overall, I mean, his numbers, average finish of 11th might not sound that good, but there's really only a few drivers that are better than that. Buescher at 7.3, Byron at 10th, Elliott at 10.1, SVG at 10.7. That's like the end of the list. But besides actually Kyle Busch at 10.4. What's up, Natalie? Coming in late. Do we know who's in the rear today? There's a lot of them. It's like 9. Off the top of my head, I can try. Pretty sure it is Keselowski, Buescher, Berry, Blaney, Bilicki. I think every B driver besides Bell and Briscoe, I guess. Burton, another B driver. Byron, if I didn't say that already. I know I'm forgetting one, or 2 at least. There's quite a few though. Eric Jones is going to the rear. Might be, I forget, I lost count at some point. Thoughts on playing Gralla? If you're playing Gralla, you basically are hoping for 10 cars to wreck out. Speed alone, I don't think he's going to be really passing drivers. Logano and Chastain plus 260 for a top 10. Usually top 10 odds suck like a lot. So I'm going to assume I have no value, but I will look. So Logano top 10. I have at Barrett plus 622, which, yeah, not even close. And then for Chastain at 260, I have... If Chastain's top 10's at 260, I would take that. I have that fair at 209. But yeah, I wouldn't touch the Joey one starting that far back. Where are we going for the cheap drivers? Yeah, if we're going cheap drivers this week, Ryan Preece would be fine with me. Austin Hill, Josh Berry. And those are the ones I'm probably getting to. I feel like I'm a little bit lower on Josh Berry than I should be, but any of those 3 are fine. SVG, says Matthew. SVG, Larson, Haley, Gibbs, Ross, and Bubba. So Bubba, yeah, I thought he would project a little bit worse for me. He's coming in at around 24 points, which is scary. That's a 13th place finish. I didn't give him any dominator points. So even if he finishes 13th, loses 7 spots, he can get you close to 4x today. So there's a little bit of a wiggle room because he's really cheap. It's not like we're paying 8K. He's only $6,200. While it does not feel great, just know it could go disastrous quite quickly with his road course history. But other than that, tournament build, I really can't hate on a tournament build today. Thoughts on John Hunter Nemechek? I will not play John Hunter Nemechek. I haven't projected to be like the worst play today. Could he sneak in a 10th? Sure, but like from a median standpoint, I can't do it. Thoughts on Austin Hill today? How high are you on Hill? Hill grades out like about the same as these other guys in the back. Josh Berry, he's like right there with Josh Berry, Stenhouse. They're all in a row. Really just projections are all within a point. Mix and match them. Diploma says Wallace and Priest make a lineup so easy this week. How much of them would you use? Optimal wise, I show Bubba kind of scary, around like 20%, just because of how cheap he is, and he showed speed. Ryan Priest around 15-20%. Those are the 2 but yeah, you're playing them. But I would say like, yeah, anywhere from like 15-25% on those drivers would be fine. Just know Wallace has a ton of downside. Funny boy, yes. There's plenty going to the rear. Gibbs thoughts on DraftKings? Yeah, Gibbs is a pretty solid play on DraftKings for tournaments. On FanDuel, I have a little bit harder time to get to him, just because you're not really getting that much of the discount comparatively. But he is a solid play. I got him projected for close to 38 points. And point per dollar wise, he's pretty close to being on par with those 5-figure range drivers with Larson, SVG, and whatnot. The upside's pretty similar there. Obi says, Joey Hand sounds like a mob character. Hey, Chris. What's good, fellas? Happy fun day. Happy fun day to you as well, Obi. And am I crazy to fade AJ today? I want to say, yeah, I think it's good, Chuck. He's already getting some extra place differential from the start of the race due to all the drivers in the rear. And then he's just a good road racer. He's not going to be a 37th place car today. He'll probably get himself around 15th. And we know the upside's even better for that. And if he does that, I don't know, he just seems pretty easy to plug in. Seems like good shock to me. But lots of leverage if anything happens to Dinger. Because we've seen a lot of these times, I mean, all the idiots are mid-pack in the back, and they'll kill each other, and you never know. We could lose like a... Worst case scenario is Truex, Byron, and AJ Allmendinger all get taken out because they should be starting pretty close to each other. AJB says, so think about a Balicki back today. Hopefully he saves some down points for the rest of the field. I don't know where these Balicki people come from. What's your finishing positions for Truex and Byron? I got Truex at 14.1 and Byron at 14.56. So right next to each other. Thoughts on Keselowski and Buescher in tournaments? I personally just hate playing Keselowski at road courses. When he starts 35th like he usually does, or right around there, I play him just because he's cheap, and by the end of the day, he gets around 15th. But with Keselowski having dropped to the rear, I don't really see any upside for him today at all. And Buescher's also going to the rear. I'd still rather play Buescher over Keselowski for sure. Better road guy, but I'm not really high on either. Wreckfest 2024, maybe. Maybe, I mean, you never know. It could end up being boring. I won't say for certain. Even if it is boring, though, I think there'll be enough shuffling around where these better drivers starting in the back can move up. Who's all going to the rear? Long list. I'll get the official list here because apparently I don't remember a couple of them. Okay, we have Blaney, Byron, Burton, Keselowski, Berry, LaJoy, Jones, Buescher, and Balicki has to do a pass-through penalty as well. So like 9 to 10 guys. Also, the fuel window today, I believe, is 35 to 40 laps. And in Joey Logano terms, that's probably about 80. So I'm sure he won't pit today and we'll just win by 2 laps. But other than that, they should be able to one-stop this. What's up, David? Last week's winner, I believe. Hey, Chris, how does Larson, Gibbs, SVG, Buescher, Priest, and Haley for cash games? No, don't do that in cash games. I think that's a recipe for disaster in cash games, personally. I would pick one of these drivers probably starting in the top 5 at most for cash games. So for me, that would be either SVG or Larson. If you want to make a Gibbs, you can, but I wouldn't play more than one. And then after that, I am playing Joey Logano, AJ Allmendinger, Byron, Truex, some type of combination of that. Ryan Preece, Josh Berry, fine for lineup fillers. Hey, that is a purely tournament lineup there, for sure. What's up, Charles? Is Reddick, Elliott, Truex, or Gibbs pick the highest score on DraftKings? You're the man. You're the man as well. I think projection-wise, that is... I don't know everyone that's there. I had Tyler Reddick as the highest in that group. What's up, Michael? Larson, Byron, Chastain, Wallace, Dinger, Haley. How you like it? If Wallace survives, if Wallace can finish in the top 12, top 13, I think it can be okay. Just know that's going to be the sweaty piece for sure. Pugsley went Reddick, MTJ, Dinger, Gibbs, Bowman, and Wallace. Just MTJ or Elliott more today. I'm always going to trust Elliott more this year. Projection-wise, I do have Elliott higher than Truex, but he's just a little bit more expensive. But I would go Chase over MTJ if I had the money. And I kind of keep neglecting Chase Elliott from that PD group when I say MTJ, Byron, Dinger. Like, Elliott's firmly in that same group. He's just not starting as far back as them. Byron, he says, I thought Byron was going to the rear. He is. I don't care, though. Thanks for DFS. I don't. But yes, Byron is to the rear. If you have a B last name, you are most likely in the rear. Probability-wise. Can you play Larson and Gibbs in the same lineup in a GP? You can. I don't really think it's going to be the best route to go. I think it's better suited for just one of them. But with the big price difference, it can work out. If this was like Watkins Glen or something, I'd probably be more inclined to do it because I feel like it could go more smoothly. But with this being Chicago, there's just more chaos factor for me. Or do we prefer Reddick, Elliott, Busher, Chastain, Bowman, Wallace, and Turney's not sure which lineup to go with? Kind of like that one better. Just know that, well, no, I take it back. I'll go the Dinger route. Jill says Logano or Reddick. I'll go with Reddick there. Not really the same kind of play, just due to the pricing difference and where they're starting, but projection-wise, it's Reddick. He's going to the rear. You guys just want me to lose my breath and talk 10 drivers each time. Byron or Reddick in a FanDuel tournament. I'll still go with Byron there. Projects better. There's more downside with Reddick. They're within 2 points, but Byron does have the edge there. Is it a good idea to leave salary on the table? I think more so on FanDuel than DraftKings. On FanDuel, if you left $3K on the table, I would not care today. It's very easy to leave money over there. But DraftKings, looking at optimals here, you're pretty much using the majority of the salary more often than not. Pricing is a little bit, based on how you want roster construction, it's a little bit tougher. Here's the huge boomer bust guy, type mid-priced on FanDuel if I'm fading one of SVG or Larson. Kyle Busch probably fits in that perfectly. Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain. Be those types in the mid-range. Alex Bowman. Team says, all the guys in my league are taking SVG, so I need to gain points. I'm just thinking Busher or McDowell. With Busher going to the rear, I don't know exactly how your league works, but I would go with McDowell there. Just better track position. Can I do a single entry lineup for DraftKings? I mean, I don't really want to build lineups for people on here, but if I was playing a single entry, I am picking, like the construction of it would be I'm picking a race winner. So for example, I'll just lock him in the optimizer here. So if we're picking a race winner, I will go with Tyler Reddick. And we'll get a couple tournament plays because this is a single entry. So let's lock in Alex Bowman. And let's lock in Kyle Busch just to get a little weird. And if we generate that, the top lineup would be Reddick, Dinger, Gibbs, Busch, Logano, Bowman. I could see myself using that for like a tournament. You have 3 guys in the top 10, which is definitely a little scary, but I don't hate the guys that were in it. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid build. Also Reddick, Dinger, Hamlin, Busch, Logano, Bowman. Like, you do have some chalkier pieces, but without having Larson or SVG, that's going to be different to a degree. And if you don't have a combination of Elliott, Truex, and Byron, that'll also be a little bit different. This is an example of the roster construction. I don't want to give you guys a lineup to play. Any love for my boy Ty today? Ty Gibbs? Yeah, of course. I don't mind Ty today. Byron, Truex on FanDuel. I'll go with Byron there. Just a couple extra spots further back, and by the end of the day, I would think they'd finish pretty close to each other. Gillen gonna be sneaky today. I do like Gilly. Gilly, Haley, Ryan Preece, Burial. Some of the cheap plays that I would get to. What are your thoughts on Joey Han? I wish Joey Han was a little bit cheaper. That's the only downside. Nearly $7,000, but I do think Joey Han can compete for a top 25, and before he's starting, that puts him in play. Again, if he was like 6,300, he'd be like very obvious. Bowman or Logano straight up? Well, I would have Logano projected better than Bowman today. Who do I think will be over-owned in tournaments? S. It's me. It's Ernest T. According to my stuff, I think Barry could be over-owned. Let me see. Larson, it's pretty even. I could see him maybe being slightly over-owned. Elliott might be a slightly over-owned. Busher. Other than that, it's pretty tight. There's not like any like major like guys that are chalky that I think are awful plays. Rex says, is Eric Jones worth a shot? Thanks for all you do. I don't really think he's just slow at road courses. He's going to the rear, which he's already in the rear anyway, but I don't personally like Eric Jones much today. Who are the two highest owned on FanDuel? I think the highest owned on FanDuel are probably going to be AJ Allmendinger and Truex. I mean, Truex is just free. If it's not Truex, it's probably Byron. That'll probably be the two highest owned. Justin Butler says SVG, Reddick, Dinger, Priest, Chastain, Bowman look good for the 121 gurney. Yeah, that's a solid builder there. I mean, SVG, potential race winner. You have AJ Allmendinger, obvious. Reddick, potential race winner. Then Chastain, Bowman. Keeps you off a lot of the chalkier plays as well, even though you do have Dinger. So, yeah, I can rock with that. What's up, Timothy? Chris, favorite stand or stand plays? Tricky cash late. Not sure how to target the cheap. And today, with so many similar guys, you prefer at least your preference for the last drivers in cash games. Yeah, I mean, some outside of like the non-super obvious plays, I love Alex Bowman today. I like Kyle Busch. Chastain, someone I think you can get to a little bit. Ty Gibbs for tournaments. As far as cash is concerned, for the cheap guys, Joey Hand, Josh Berry, Ryan Preece, pretty much the only options I would get to. Todd Gillen, maybe. Doesn't Haley, but for where they're starting, I mean, probably more so better suited for tournaments. Thoughts on Haley? Haley's a good road racer. Problem is, I just, for where he's starting, I think he can contend for his top 20, obviously. Not a ton of upside there, but I feel like him and Gilland are pretty similar plays. Chastain, top 10, plus 260 on DraftKings. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid number, actually. I gotta look for that myself. Yeah, Chastain is plus 260. Yeah, it's a decent number. Decent number. Who do I finishing better between Reddick versus Gibbs and Cindric versus Dinger? For me, that is Reddick over Gibbs, and then I have Dinger over Cindric. And good luck to you as well, John. Jake says, Nemechek worth it for a tournament play so you can stack the rest of the lineup. You can stack the rest of your lineup even without John Nemechek today. So personally, for me, I wouldn't. Like, I can play Ryan Preece for, what, $100 more? What is he at? Yeah, Preece is $100 more, starts 15 spots further back, not more. But way more comfortable with Ryan Preece. FanDuel 7,200 and below, need one more guy. I believe that is Alex Bowman's range. Yeah, I'd go with Alex Bowman. What's up, Sean? Larson, SVG, Bell, bottom top. Bowman, Preece on FanDuel. Thanks as always. Interesting. It's more of a lineup like I'd see myself playing in a 20 max personally. I guess it depends on the contest, Sean. But the Preece play on FanDuel, I do have Preece a little bit just because of how cheap he is, but only in the 20 max. Two favorite GPP plays, like Bowman a lot today, I like Kyle Busch. I think for tournaments, those are the guys I'd want to be overweight on. Just know, Kyle Busch, it goes south quite often these days, so just be ready for pain. Easy says, AJ over Byron in a matchup plus 100. Do I like that? Not really. It's pretty dead even. Plus 100. And I feel like Byron should have the better car. I don't think it's enough for me to want to bet it. Plus 100. If it was a little bit steeper, I would say maybe. I don't think it's enough in a dead even heat. What's up, Josh? Says Bubba and Tyler Reddick. Michael Jordan back in Chicago narrative. What you think, Chris? That is true. We do have the narrative there. Bubba is going to be a sweat today. If you are playing Bubba, just know that more than likely doesn't work out. But if he can hold on to a top 13, we are talking about 4x value here. And that might be enough. Tyler Reddick, though, yeah, I don't have any issues with Tyler Reddick. Bubba's the one that's going to be a bit more sweaty. Matthew says, I'm fading AJ, SVG, and Larson. Remember my name if this. I'll remember you, Matthew. Do I see any EV in Elliott top 10? FanDuel has him at minus 185. I'm going to guess no, but I will look. No, I'm not. I'm not quite, because at minus 140, I'm minus 5.2% on that, so I would not. Top 10 odds from the books are just so terrible. Like, just imagine. Last I looked, SVG had a minus 800 for his top 10 odds. That was on Caesars. He's minus 1,000 on like just imagine betting minus 1,000 on a driver for a top 10 in a NASCAR race. So many idiots, so many things that can happen. A bad, just something stupid like minus 1,000. That is ridiculous. I don't care if it hits or not. I think it's just a terrible bet. Let's see. What's up, Jeff? Says, yo, Chris, I need your channel. Welcome in. Could you give me a rundown of what you do with this channel? Sure. I just pretty much go over DFS and betting for DraftKings and Vandal every single week. Talk about the race, hang out with you guys. Kind of like that. Pretty much like that. I try not to be like other betting things. Like I'm not I like to brag and stuff when I just like to chill with you guys and have a good time. Bung says Ford is plus 550. That seems worth a sprinkle if there's a chaos. I'm trying to think of what Ford would even win. Well, I guess Michael McDowell. But outside of Michael McDowell, the next guy that I have, the Ford is just in the dump. So honestly, if you're betting Ford, I feel like I'd probably just rather bet Michael McDowell. I don't know. I don't really know who's gonna win. Unless obviously, if there is chaos, sure, anybody. But I don't know. I'd just rather go with Michael McDowell there. Clint says, "Sorry, I'm late. What'd I miss?" That's too much, Clint. We actually waited for you to get here. Just kidding. What's up, buddy? Rick says, sorry, 7,200 below on DraftKings, your favorite. Oh. Well, for me, that would be Joey Hand. Matthew says, Ross and Busch seems like great GBP plays. Yeah, I mean, both are really solid road racers. Kyle Busch, very strong finishes of road courses in general in the next gen era. Like, I know he sucks now. Like, he is beyond wash, whether it's the equipment or whatever. It might be a mixture of both. But I do like Kyle Busch today. Just because he's right beside Joey Logano in price, and why are you going to play Kyle Busch over Joey Logano? So that's the reason we should play some Kyle Busch. Specifically, and the same can be said for Ross Chastain. Sniper says, shout out to the DFS Discord. Yeah, it's always a good time in there. Always a good time. Especially with Sniper. Yeah, no problem, Ben. Thanks for being here. 2 favorite plays under 8K, says Beakbuster. Under 8K, Joey Logano is going to be the first highest projected. And then I have Bowman. So Logano and Bowman. Bowman or Briscoe, I would go with Bowman there. Stenhouse thoughts. He's not going to be good today, but if there's chaos or the field gets weird, like he can pay off. But just like speed alone, if this race played out green, I don't think Stenhouse would be anything amazing. The chalky drivers today are AJ Allmendinger, SVG, Joey Logano, Byron, Truex, Elliott, Bowman. Larson, they'll be chalky. Matthew says, Bell, Byron, Gillen, Ross, Logano, Busch for single entry. How do you like it? I know you're fading Dinger, so if you are fading Dinger, I mean, that'll keep you off the chalk. I mean, Joey's chalk, but I mean, having one guy in there is not going to be a big deal. Same with Byron. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, those are all guys I'm targeting in tournaments, especially Bell and Busch there. So I can get with it. That says, what do you think of a balanced lineup here? So we have SVG, this is SVP, but I'm assuming it's SVG. Larson, Gibbs, Austin Hill, Dinger, and Barry. 3 guys in the top 5 might be a bit much for me personally. Tig would be my max, I think. Yeah, this might be a little bit too much for me up there. How much salary to leave on the table for DraftKings GP? I can't really tell you there's a set number. I mean, most of the optimals I'm looking at are pretty much using most of the salary. So I wouldn't leave too much money. How do I have Briscoe projected? I have Briscoe projected to finish 20.02, which is 27.02 points, 3.75x on DraftKings. So he's like the borderline in the player pool. Not amazing. Xander says Byron, Elliott, Busch, Dinger, Logano, Grex on DraftKings. A good build. Don't really have anybody up front, which is not a big. I'm surprised you don't have Ty Gibbs, to be honest. Knowing you, but that's a fine build. That's fine. Thoughts on no Bubba for DraftKings? If you don't want to play Bubba today, I have nothing against it. I mean, he is in a very tough spot starting in 6. Very tough spot. Charles says, congrats to Pato. It sounds like IndyCar, which I know nothing about. You're the man as well, Steven. Top 3, thanks and good luck, my man. Just top 3 projected finish. For me, that would be SVG, Larson, and Tyler Reddick. Yeah, I know. Big surprise there, right? Oh, thoughts on Bubba and draft. Okay. So, I have Bubba projected to finish around 13th, which is close to 4x, but there's just so much downside. If you're looking at his numbers of road courses, they're not great. Average jump position around 20th, average finish of 20th, but he does have 6 top 20s and 2 top 15s. Problem is, he just usually finishes around 15th to 20th. And if you look at a 14 race sample size for road courses, 8 top 20s, 4 top 15s, and a couple of top 10s. So, based off of the speed we saw in practice, he looks fast, but obviously going to be a little bit more difficult during the race, racing against guys. So I would say 100% he's going to move back. It's just a matter of how much does he move back and how comfortable do you feel with that. Any Hill, Gregson, or Zane? Small amounts. Very small amounts. If you were playing like 20 to 150 lineups, the one I'd feel the best with is probably Austin Hill. Bowman or Kyle Busch for cash on DraftKings. Cash. I do have Bowman projected better than Busch today. I guess him. Would you play lineup with just drivers starting in the top 15? Not personally, Mundo. Not today. Sure, it looks great by stage 1, but I think by the end of the race, it's going to get jumbled up. And for the record, road courses are one of those things where you really don't want to look at your lineups until the end because the strategy, which I don't know how much strategy there's going to be today because I think we can just one-stop this race. But all these times, the strategy's out of whack, and it's like, well, I'm getting killed. And then once people pit, it's like, okay, I'm fine. So we'll see how the race plays out today. But Raphael says, looks like radar is showing a downpour at 4:15 and ending around 5 to get ready for rain, tires, and chaos. Oh, that'll be fun. Just some added fun to the race today. We'll see what happens there. Who's great at road? Who's great on the wet tires? I remember Elliott back in the day. I forget which race it was at a road course, but I think he won on wet tires. Barry's been very good at wet tires, although obviously it's a road course, not an oval, so it's different. Bell's been awesome at wet tires before. Denny Hamlin's an absolute catastrophe in wet tires from what I remember. And I couldn't tell you the rest off the top of my head. Kevin says, Haley, Dinger, SVG, Bell, and 8,300 left. Last driver thoughts on FanDuel. On FanDuel, we have $8,300 left. I don't think. No, you did say Logano. No, you did not say Logano. I would go with Logano. Bell, Reddick, Logano, Bowman, Busch, Hand. What you think? And the $4 Chrome Horn on DraftKings. Nothing wrong with that build. 2 potential race winners there with Bell and Reddick. Logano, Bowman, Busch, Hand. All fine PD plays. Out of the drivers starting in the rear, who would you play? I'll tell you right now, like, besides Keselowski, because I'm not playing him anyway, I don't care who's going in the rear. Like, it has zero effect on how I'm playing them today. So I believe Byron's in the rear. No issues with Byron. There's so many I keep forgetting off the top of my head. But yeah, I really don't care who's in the rear today. Is SPG, Bowman, Logano, Truex, Gilly, Dinger okay for DraftKings? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Danny Moore's message got retracted. Zan says, I see 0 rain on the weather app for Chicago. Well, last I looked, it looked like there was rain for sure. Let me look again. I'm using Google Weather. Well, the chances look lower now for sure. We'll see. But from when I looked about an hour ago, the probability did look a little bit lower. Let me see if that Twitter page ended up changing their forecast or whatnot. So we did get an update 28 minutes ago. Roughly 2 hours till green flag. Closest cell is 15 miles away. No lightning in the main area of interest. Line of storms firing could make their way to the track in 2 to 3 hours. That's about all we got. So it looks, yeah, I just saw there's a bunch of storms that popped up in like Western Illinois, and they are kind of heading towards the track, so we'll see. I don't know, I'm not a weatherman. Briscoe is the best play on the slate. I don't know. That seems a little bold. We'll see. Gillen, Larson, Priest, Reddick, SVG. No issue with that. Little tournament, Hamlin or Chastain. I'll go with. It's close. Let me look. I have Hamlin projected better. Probably mainly just based off the practice speeds we saw. Bowman. Oh, rest of your lineup. Yeah, I like Bowman a lot. Then he says, thanks for all you do. No problem at all. I want to bet McDowell to win. How fast does his car look? I think he's got the White Sox logo on his car, which, obviously not a good sign for winning. But he obviously has a fine car starting at there. Like, I feel like qualifying speed probably showed more than what we looked at in practice. But let me pull up his practice. I'm not sure how much you want to put into practice anyway. But he was top 10 in practice. He was 9th overall in the lap-by-lap data. There was definitely a tier break after the big three with Larson, Gibbs, and SVG. And then it went Bowman, Hamlin, Wallace, John Nemechek, Bellin, and McDowell. But McDowell's a good road racer. I think his odds are a little bit too short, depending on what the odds are. Did you say what you were getting? I have him fair at plus 1376. So if you get him at 1400 and above, but I'm not sure I've seen that. Are they getting scored from the rear? They will be scored from their original starting spot, TJ. So with Byron starting 27th, I think, going to the rear, he's still scored from 27th, for example. Steven says, are you a fan of the street races or Daytona like old days? Well, I think the road courses are kind of boring, but I like them for fantasy purposes. And the street race is kind of cool. Like, I'm kind of liking the road courses more now. They're kind of chill. Like, I don't have to worry about getting the Dominator right. I mean, kind of, but things can change. So it's just kind of like chill, wait for the end. We'll see what happens. Okay, last pick for my lineup. Who do you have finishing better between Gibbs versus Elliott? I have Ty Gibbs predicted to finish better. And no problem at all, John. No problem at all, Rick. Thank you for being here. This is by far my favorite channel. You're the GOAT. Well, I appreciate that, Rick. Thank you. I can't have a channel unless you guys show up, so you're just as important. So thank you. Not using any sims or whatnot, Paul, I would say it's probably unlikely unless you hit like on a big tournament. It'd be pretty difficult to compete with like out of any system of some sort. Obviously, like some people sure, yes, but probability wise, it's unlikely. All right, I caught up to the chat finally. Good stream, over an hour. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I know there's really not too much to talk about with Chicago. It's just a random race. Street race could be chaotic, could be not. Could rain, also could not rain. I don't know. I think we have Indy next week, which that'll be fun. I could see that being a crash fest. But I wish y'all the best. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you all